I'm Tracy Sabol. Tonight on EWTN News Nightly, race for the White House.
Many people have asked me what my position is on abortion and abortion rights.
Former President Donald Trump releases his campaign plan on abortion, how pro-lifers are responding. Crisis in the Middle East. As U.S. lawmakers weigh in on further aid to Israel, we hear from the brother of a man being held hostage by Hamas. Threats to human dignity, what the Vatican is saying about surrogacy and so-called gender-affirming care, and living our best life. Pope Francis reminds the faithful of the power of focusing on the resurrected Jesus Christ. These stories and more tonight.
From EWTN, the Global Catholic Network, this is EWTN News Nightly.
Thank you for being with us on the Solemnity of the Annunciation. Our top story tonight, as the Biden administration pushes for abortion access nationwide, former President Donald Trump releases a video saying abortion limits should be left to the states, saying at the end of the day, it is all about the will of the people. He also discussed his support for in vitro fertilization. Tonight, pro-life groups are responding to the video, and so is the Biden campaign. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen?
Tracy, in former President Donald Trump's roughly 4-minute or so long video, he again takes credit for the U.S. Supreme Court doing away with Roe v. Wade. He's saying he was proudly the person responsible for its demise. And while, of course, that was a huge pro-life victory, one pro-life group was disappointed by Trump's new message on Truth Social.
Trying to win his old job back, former President Donald Trump in a new video does not say when in pregnancy he believes abortion should be banned.
My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint, the states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land, in this case, the law of the state.
Declining to endorse a national ban, he did lay out his support for 3 exceptions.
Like Ronald Reagan, I am strongly in favor of exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother.
President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have made abortion a central theme of their re-election campaign. Biden released a campaign statement blaming Trump, quote, for creating the cruelty and the chaos that has enveloped America since the Dobbs decision. Biden says he is determined to restore the federal protections of Roe v. Wade. Pro-life groups offer mixed reaction. The head of SBA Pro-Life America writes, "We are deeply disappointed in President Trump's position because she believes it cedes the national debate to the Democrats." But Students for Life calls Trump's abortion comments a step in the right direction, adding, unlike President Biden, President Trump begins his remarks on abortion celebrating the ultimate joy in life, children, and family. That kind of love and support for the bedrock of society, the family, will be a welcome change in the White House.
Thanks to what we're doing, that student debt is no longer holding you back.
Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, President Biden appeals to young voters, laying out his plan to ease student debt.
Today, I'm proud to announce 5 major actions to continue to relieve student debt for more than 30 million Americans.
Now, back to that Trump video. He started it by focusing on in vitro fertilization, IVF. Trump, who strongly backs IVF, said, quote, "We want to make it easier for mothers and families to have babies, not harder." End quote. Now, the Catholic Church, of course, teaches that IVF is immoral because it involves the destruction of human embryos. Meanwhile, President Biden returns here to Washington tonight after attending a campaign fundraiser in Chicago. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.
For more reaction from pro-lifers, we turn now to Sean Carney, founder and president of 40 Days for Life. Sean, always great to be with you. So what's your take on the former president's remarks?
Well, I think Trump overall has really botched abortion since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, like a lot of Republicans have. But I like this move a lot better than what we thought he was going to do. He was pushing a 16-week or 15-week federal ban. I don't know any pro-life person that was for that. And so I was a little worried about voter turnout. In the end, he decided we don't need a federal ban right now. Of course, we need to recognize all unborn children under the 14th Amendment, but the country is nowhere close to that. So I think what he did actually makes sense. He took credit for overturning Roe v. Wade. He highlighted how so many abortion advocates want infanticide and late-term abortion. I don't like some of the wording he did. He said abortion rights, which is absurd. But overall, this is way better than a 15-week ban.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, several pro-life groups are really expressing disappointment that former President Trump was not stronger in his defense of the unborn. How would you respond to them? What would you say?
I mean, unless we just outlaw all abortion, I don't really know what they want. He wanted a 15-week ban. That would be a disaster, not only for the unborn. It's 1% of all abortions. It would have been a disaster politically. The knee-jerk reaction of abortion politically has a shelf life. And right now, abortion is the 6th top issue for Democrats. And so it is just fading. And I think Trump recognized that. He's the reason we got here. He helped overturn Roe v. Wade. He doesn't really speak our language. We know that. But he put the justices up. And I think he's smart to take credit for it and to move on. Unless we are going to recognize and end abortion from the moment of conception, that's, a federal ban would be a disaster otherwise.
Yeah, and I know that you say letting states decide abortion, which is former President Trump's stance, is really in line with goals from 40 days for life. Why do you think this approach, why do you think it could be so effective?
Well, it's what we have to do. I mean, the Supreme Court, once they gave it back to the states, which is what the pro-life movement asked the Supreme Court to do all these years, if they weren't going to just outright ban all abortions, that's what we're left with is state to state. It's not ideal, but once you have a 15-week abortion ban, number one, no abortion advocate's going to vote for Trump no matter what he does. So it's not about winning votes, but it is about the pro-life voters, and no one was for a 15-week ban.
And we're going to leave it right there. Sean, always great to get your insights. We really appreciate it. Good to see you. God bless.
Thank you.
All right, now to the Middle East, where Palestinians are beginning to return to the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis. After 4 months of ground operations, Israel has withdrawn all but one brigade. They leave behind a city in ruins. Before the Hamas terror attack in October, roughly 400,000 people lived in Khan Yunis. Now that most of the troops are gone, there are concerns of a power vacuum which could be filled by Hamas. Meanwhile, the conflict in Gaza is taking center stage at the top United Nations court today. Nicaragua is arguing Germany's military aid to Israel should be halted because it enables acts of genocide in Gaza. Berlin is a major supplier of arms to Israel. The court will likely take weeks to deliver any kind of decision. Tensions in the Middle East are having an impact on Capitol Hill. The U.S. House is set to vote this week on a resolution that would support Israel's right to self-defense and oppose a ceasefire in Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza. Talks are taking place to reach a truce and secure release of around 130 hostages, including some Americans.
A stop, a pause, whatever you want to call it, to allow for the hostages to be released, then we need two parties to agree. Yes, of course, Israel has to agree, but so does Hamas.
After aid workers in Gaza were killed in an Israeli airstrike, President Biden warned a reset in U.S. policy was possible unless Israel takes action to limit civilian casualties and prevent a humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
If Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister, were to order the IDF into Rafah at scale, they were to drop 1,000-pound bombs and send in a battalion to go after Hamas and make no provision for civilians or for humanitarian aid, that I would vote to condition aid to Israel.
But House Speaker Mike Johnson thinks President Biden ought to back off. The president's ultimatum should be going to Hamas, not Israel. Hamas resisted a ceasefire, brought about needless bloodshed, and refuses to release Israeli and American hostages. Biden should not undercut our ally amidst an existential threat by conditioning our support. The U.S. is on high alert after Iran vowed retaliation for an Israeli drone strike in Syria that killed top Iranian military commanders. Intelligence Committee Chair Congressman Mike Turner says the Iranian consulate was a legitimate target, but
At the same time, it still is very unwise, as we were trying to put pressure on Iran to keep them out of this conflict, both with U.S. presence and with our response to the attacks on our own troops. This certainly does escalate the issue throughout the entire region.
The Republican-backed Israel resolution that the House will vote on this week is largely symbolic and will not change any current policy. Speaker Johnson has not announced when the House will consider an Israel aid package. On October 7th, Or Levy and his wife Enyev arrived at the Supernova Music Festival. Minutes later, Hamas carried out its terror attack. In the aftermath, Israeli officials confirmed that Enyev was killed or was taken hostage by Hamas. It has now been 6 months since the Israel-Hamas war began, and families are still clinging to hope for the safe return of their relatives. One of those is Michael Levy, Or's brother, who is in Washington, D.C., meeting with U.S. officials to demand the release of hostages. Michael, thank you so much for being here today. Talk to us more about why you're in D.C. and what you want to accomplish.
For me, I'm part of a delegation that came here to Washington to keep this impossible situation on the agenda, to make sure that everyone are doing everything they can in order to get the hostages back and get us our lives back.
Yeah, and tell us more about your brother, Or. What would you want people to know about him?
I keep saying that O is the genius of the family, almost unknowingly genius. As the older brother, it was difficult to see how easily things came to him. He's a happy man.
Yeah, and you have a teddy bear there with you right now. Tell us about that.
That's actually his son's teddy bear. O lost his wife on the horrible attack of October 7th. And Almog has only O now. And this teddy bear, I carry it around with me to remind myself that someone needs his father even more than I need my brother.
You've really been vocal about bringing this to light. You even talked to Pope Francis about your brother with some of the other families of the hostages. Tell us about that experience. What did the Holy Father say to you?
He was supportive. Actually, I was moved by how human he was. He just touched my brother's face and prayed, and it was an amazing emotional moment for me.
Yeah, I bet it was really comforting to get that type of support from him. I also know that a lot is happening in your home country of Israel, too. Over the weekend, there were protests, people in Tel Aviv demanding that the hostages be released after the body of a hostage was found. What is the situation in Israel right now? I mean, how are people feeling about the situation, the war, the hostages, and personally, how do you feel?
It's been now 6 months. For us, for me, I still live on October 7th. It's been one very long and very bad day for me. We all want them back, and we want them back as soon as possible. Those protests or rallies are intended to say that everyone needs to do more in order to get them back. We don't have time, they don't have time. And as you mentioned, they found the body of Elad Katzir. And we are all afraid it will happen to us.
And what would you want people to know who may be watching right now? I mean, is there anything that people can do to help?
I think the one most important thing I want people to remember is that this is not about politics. Those are human beings with families, or as a 2.5-year-old son who is waiting for him at home, crying when we mention the words dad or mom next to him. And the same goes for all the other hostages. They have families, they have lives. They need to be back. And the world should take a stand against it and help us getting them back.
And that's so important. And Michael, thank you so much for coming on today and speaking to us. We really appreciate it. We're praying for all of you and your brother and for a safe return.
Thank you.
Well, now to the war between Ukraine and Russia, where Ukraine denies a claim by Russia that it launched drone strikes near a major power plant. Kremlin forces have been running the nuclear reactor in southern Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say that no attack took place. The UN's atomic watchdog agency confirmed that over the weekend drones were fired near the nuclear reactor. Russia's government has declared a federal emergency after a burst dam caused severe flooding and forced thousands of people to evacuate. The floods took place near Russia's border with Kazakhstan. They were caused by rising water levels in the Ural River. Several thousand homes have been destroyed. Officials have launched a criminal probe into where construction violations caused the dam to break. And in Poland, local and regional elections over the weekend delivered a blow to the pro-abortion prime minister. Donald Tusk was facing his first electoral test since taking power 4 months ago. And exit polling shows the pro-life Law and Justice Party remains the single most popular political group in the majority Catholic country. The results are likely to hamper Tusk's efforts to loosen the country's strict abortion laws. Well, the walls could be closing in on the military government in Myanmar. Guerrilla fighters from the ethnic minority claimed that they are close to seizing a major trading town. The military government has suffered several recent defeats, and it has introduced conscription to boost ranks. The Karen National Liberation Army and several pro-democracy fighters have intensified their operations ever since the military took power back in 2021. And we have a lot more still to come here on EWTN News Nightly, including keep those glasses on. Tens of thousands of people flocked to Indianapolis to catch a glimpse of today's total solar eclipse. And she was born via surrogacy, and now she is standing with Pope Francis and calling for the practice to be banned around the world. Back, many pairs of solar eclipse glasses were gazing at the sky today as North America took in a rare total solar eclipse. Millions across the continent raced outside to catch a glimpse of the phenomenon. The curator of the National Air and Space Museum says this may be the most viewed astronomical event in history. It will be another 21 years before the U.S. sees a solar eclipse with a scale such as this. And Philip Crowther, international affiliate correspondent for the Associated Press, watched the solar eclipse from a prime spot, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he joins us now to tell us all about it. Philip, I know that you were on the path of totality. What was it like for you?
Yeah, really special. I'll just take a really quick look again at the sun just to make sure that this spectacle of nature is over. And looking up at the sun here, yeah, I can confirm it's back altogether. No slices of the sun cut out by the moon anymore. It's really not the time to look into the sun anymore without these protective glasses. But what a spectacle it was here for the tens of thousands of people who got together here at the Indianapolis Speedway. This is usually a place that is loud, that is has got a lot of race cars going around this oval. It got pretty quiet here with people expecting this moment of totality. We got 3 minutes and 50 seconds here, and there were gasps and there was applause from people here. I saw a lady who was crying as well once it was over, because it is an emotional moment, a spiritual moment for some, even a religious one for some, to watch this thing happen. Daytime turn into nighttime, not necessarily, but certainly dusk, and it happens very, very quickly indeed. The moment the sun disappears behind the moon, down goes the light, and that gives you the chance to look right at the celestial bodies, not directly into the sun because the moon is obscuring it. But what an incredible moment that is. And I think people here were happy that they were able to experience it as a group, because this, of course, is something that 44 million people in the so-called path of totality, where darkness happened, were able to watch this from the comfort of their own homes, essentially. They just had to walk outside and look at the sun, essentially, to experience this. But tens of thousands decided to do that together here, because when those big moments arrive, people want to experience them collectively, don't they?
Absolutely. Really quickly, before I let you go, Philip, I mean, what was it like for you?
Well, look, I think this is a very emotional thing, and you try to cram as much as you can into what you know are going to be just 3 minutes and 50 seconds. You try and experience it as much as you can. As a reporter, you try to take as many photos and video as you can. You try and get to as many perspectives as you can. But what really matters is it really makes you think about things, and it made me think of the last time that I saw a solar eclipse. I was lucky to see one in the year 1999 in Europe with my late father, and that is a moment that came straight back to me because there was that similar eerie feeling of the daytime turning into nighttime. Back then, I was able to experience it from essentially the middle of a field, in the middle of the countryside. It's a very different way of experiencing these things. That was with a family member, a moment of solidarity, but also of being alone, really. And here was a very different experience of tens of thousands of people wanting to experience it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. And Phil, thank you for sharing this moment with us. Very special indeed. We appreciate it. Up next on EWTN News Nightly, report from Rome, the rights of a child and the right to have a child. The church weighs in on the question of surrogacy. Plus, the Holy Father tells the faithful how every living encounter with Jesus leads us to a better life. International experts and the Holy See gathered in Rome to discuss issues surrounding surrogacy and to demand that it be stopped. The meeting preceded an important document released today by the Vatican that also addresses surrogacy. EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief Andreas Tannhauser has more.
We're not used to hearing the bad aspects of surrogacy and how it's totally unethical.
Olivia Morrill herself was born via surrogacy, and now she's leading the charge to ban it.
As a child born from surrogacy, I've suffered from abandonment issues, identity issues, because I was abandoned by my mother at birth, and I was ripped away from her at birth.
She shared her story at an international conference for the universal abolition of surrogacy at the LUMSA University in Rome. The meeting aimed to promote an international treaty to outlaw surrogacy. The conference was held near the Vatican, and it comes only a few days before the Dicastery for the Doctrine of Faith published a document on moral questions regarding human dignity, gender, and also surrogacy. Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez presented the new document titled Dignitas Infinita, Infinite Dignity, this morning at the Vatican. In a specific paragraph, surrogacy is considered a grave violation of the dignity of the woman and child, based on the exploitation of situations of the mother's material needs. A child is always a gift and never the basis of a commercial contract. Many couples would argue surrogacy is the only way they can have a child.
Post-delivery.
But Jennifer Lahl, the founder of the Center for Bioethics and Culture Network, refutes that argument.
Well, I'm very sympathetic to couples who can't have children, and they desperately want children. But I would respond by saying, but that doesn't give you the right to risk another woman's health, and that doesn't give you the right to buy children.
While surrogacy is banned across most countries in the European Union, the practice is permitted in the majority of US states. That's a big problem when it comes to international law, according to Swedish journalist Kajsa Ekis Ekman.
Well, what they need to know is surrogacy is basically violating a number of international laws and moral laws because it's about the industrial and intentional separation of mother and child. So unlike adoption, where, technically there would be an orphan that would need a family, here you actually have a mother who's fit enough to carry out a pregnancy and who's still around, but she's not allowed to be with a child, and the child is not allowed to get to know her.
In Rome, Andreas Tannhauser, EWTN News Nightly.
Finally tonight, Pope Francis reminds the faithful that through Jesus Christ we can lead our fullest and happiest life.
Ognuno si domandi, come va la mia speranza?
At the Sunday address at the Vatican, the Holy Father emphasized the power of encountering the risen Jesus, and he urged believers to embrace faith, prayer, love in spreading Easter joy. The Pope also called for negotiating and sealing peace, particularly in Ukraine, Palestine, and in Israel. Well, we thank you for watching tonight. And remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram at EWTN News Nightly. I'm Tracy Sabol. Good night and God bless.